Okay, we're back, man. BSideShow.net, the forum show. Thank you guys all for tuning in, man. Hey, fuck it, man. Let's talk about what we were talking about, man. Our introductions to hip hop, man. Wackoe said his was, Vanilla Ice. He used to spike his hair up like him back in the day. But no, really though. I mean, how did you become? Let me ask you first, Abstract Rude. How did you officially become like a part of hip hop, dog?
Honestly, like from the earliest memory I really truly can say that I have was Curtis Blow's Basketball song.
I remember that.
Like even like I can't say the Sugar Hill Gang song because that was maybe before that. But as far as how old I was, it was basketball. Because I mean, he was talking about something I really liked. I like playing basketball, so that spoke to me. And then I would say, pretty much after that, it would be whatever movie came out. So it was like I was too young for Wild Style, so it was more like Beach Street. You know what I mean? Lee Pop. You know what I mean? Breaking against Crazy Legs and them, and then Raymond. You know what I mean? Was the first
Rainbow and Spit.
That was my
Spit?
Raymond and Spit was. I mean, come on, keep it real. That was your first real.
You got electrocuted on the train tracks and shit.
That was my first real graffiti, kind of like singing that shit, and then breaking obviously after that, and shit like that.
And
Crush Groove.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Crush Groove.
Crush Groove was big because but see, I took more Fat Boys I was that young. Where I took more Fat Boys than Run DMC.
You know what though? I was a fan. That's when I officially became a fan. They have Fat Boys, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, and I remember they brought out LL Cool J, and I remember to me LL Cool J was hard as radio and
when he was breaking at the end.
Yeah,
at the end I was like, oh, this fool is tight. He was b-boying at the very end.
And I don't know if you guys remember, but one of my favorite tracks when he came out with the first album was Dear Yvette. You guys remember Dear Yvette? That shit was hard, dog. Hey man, I'm sorry, dog. You guys think? Hey, you guys better Google that if you don't know what it is, man. For real, it's hip hop shit. Hey, what about you, Pawz? What's your first memory?
Honestly, because I was born in Compton, and
Compton's in the house.
My pops, he worked with a couple younger dudes, and they would always play tapes. So it was LL, and it was I'm Bad. And then after that,
I know that whole song. I could karaoke that shit, dog. But
said Oreo,
but I won't do it right
jelly
now.
Bean. I'm a little kid, so I'm like, but just the sound of his voice and the way he was saying it, I was like, wow, this shit is awesome. And then not only that, but like I didn't understand that people were writing on the wall, and then my grandparents would get pissed. They got to fucking paint over it. But that shit was graph though. Like I didn't know that.
You didn't understand that concept. You're just like, well, why are they writing on the wall? And they just seen your grandfather just all pissed off and upset and everything.
I'm thinking like, why did he put his name on that wall? Like, you know what I'm saying?
What does that mean?
Is that his?
Yeah, and then I would, no bullshit, I would see people walking with cardboard under their arms, and I'm like, oh shit, they throw a little bit of sand on it, do their thing. And my pops would always rush me in the house and shit, but I was exposed to it, right across the street from me or right next door, or people driving by,
I remember, I think it was when we had Mellow Man Ace on the show too, and he brought up, how important all the elements of hip hop are, b-boy and graph, all the stuff, man. And he brought it up, and he actually came on with his son, who's only like 17 right now, and he's doing beats and all that. He's been at the beat swap meets and all that stuff, but he had been exposed, so he learned from his pops. So the dude's got that throwback mentality, dog, which I really appreciated. But yeah, you brought that. That's a good point you brought up. What about you, Jelani?
I'd probably say Slick Rick, Great Adventures.
Yes.
Rick, dog. Yeah.
Children's story.
The storyteller right there.
That was the first rap tape I copped, man.
I remember Treat Him Like a Prostitute. That shit was hard as hell, dog.
Oh man, I lost that tape for probably like 5 years. My grandma read the track list,
and it was a rap.
She took it from you. She took it from you.
She never heard the music, but all she had to do was just read the track list, and then Treat Her Like a Prostitute. What else was there? Lick the Balls. You know what I mean? Come on.
Balls.
Yeah. I mean, at that time, I was listening to a lot of R&B too, but
later,
that was my first one.
I don't remember if it was that
show
tape.
though. The show was the one.
Oh yeah.
That was repeat over and over and over and over again.
And then
You know what though? Well, I think this could bring up our first topic here, because I'm just curious now, because us talking this and people are reminiscing on things, and you know, and it's a big important impact is what the, you know, how the culture is now, you know. Do you think that the generation today will have conversations like this as far as what's going on for like in today's music? Because it seems like, this is just my opinion, you know, is that I feel that today's music that does get pushed, you know, towards, you know, on the mainstream, because that music then wasn't pushing the mainstream in a sense too, but it just seems that it won't really have like a solid foundation where it's gonna be lasting forever.
And you remember it 20 years later or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think people still will talk about, you know, what they how they got into it and all.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, not the same, because like you spoke of before with the internet. I mean, it's just like music gets old quick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like, it's like, you know, you can download one joint, then you can download another joint the next day, and it's like, you know, nothing that resonates the same as before, as if you bought a tape or a record or whatever, because you had to actually spend money on it. You know, now people just download for free, and it's, you know, it's not as genuine.
It had a tangible value.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. The homie's wife made a good point the last time we were on the show. Shout out to KB. She said, I remember riding my bike like 2 cities over to buy a CD.
Right.
And like, I remember that whole little journey, going there, coming back, seeing it, holding it, you know, biting the plastic off, cracking it open. Like, it was, you had to work for it.
And reading it while you're listening to that. I literally did that too. I would ride my bike, and then, you know, Tuesdays when new music came out, every Tuesday. And this is when you didn't have 100 things dropping on the same day. There would be a select few things dropping on Tuesdays, and I remember riding my bike every Tuesday to the stuff. They had the warehouse back then, and man, I can't even think of what else, but Tower, and I would go get cassette tapes. Man, shouts out to the cassette tapes. Hey, but anyways, I would grab, you know, whatever was new, I would have to pick, because I didn't have enough money to get more than one. Right. So there would be like 2 or 3 things coming out. And I remember copping things like, I think you brought it up in your song, J. Ross, but EPMD, man, like copping the EPMD cassette, dog. And those were the days for me, man, for reals, man. Oh, back to the topic, man.
But I mean, just to answer your question, will people sit around and have discussions like this about their era? Of course they will. By the, you know, evidenced by the fact that we are right now, and you know, music took a turn when hip hop started sampling that people older than us felt like was a dip. But you know, it was real for us, and we turned it into something, and we kind of felt like we were actually showing them respect. And over time, we showed them that by paying them and putting money in their pocket from publishing, from samples we were using and things like that, and then giving them a new lease on a career when they were forgotten about. You know,
that's real right there. What you're saying, dog. From the samples, from you know, some of the cats that weren't out in the limelight no more, some of their stuff was getting sampled, and it made them relevant again too. And then people would go check back for their music.
I mean, look, I've heard the Far Side's Passing Me By redone. Mariah Carey redid Ahmad's back in the day. Rage Against the Machine redid Pistol Grip Pump by Volume 10. That right there is, and then this cat, I forget what his name is, remade Micah 9's Park Bench People. That's 4 huge examples of just my crew, kind of like Good Life, LA Underground, you know, era, you know, mid 90s, early to mid 90s, that look, you know. So people from this era will always draw on old shit, you know. They'll appreciate the stuff that happens now. And I mean, certain songs that get made become instant classics as soon as they get made, and they transcend the eras no matter what they are, you know. And that's all determined by public opinion, by what, you know, the songs that when the DJ drops them, all the DJs unanimously say like, yeah, this one gets them moving, like they love this one. You know, like Snoop Dogg. Let's take him for instance. He had a lot of classic songs with Dre, but I read somewhere that he didn't have like you know, like a top 10 hit or like until he started making songs with like Pharrell or whatever. And that's crazy to me because you think about his most classic shit, you think about it with Dre, right? So I mean, that's just an example that those songs that he did make with Dre still transcend, and those are national treasures to us, you know, as hip hoppers, you know, in the American public, regardless of how much they sold or whatever. And we'll talk about him whatever, regardless of the new songs he made with Pharrell, which out of all of them, you maybe really like the like Snoop, the Drop It Like It's Hot one the most, right?
And then the beautiful.
And maybe that one even sold more. That's a perfect example of how, to answer your question though, just so we stay on topic, like, yes, they will have conversations like this because of that shit, you know? Because of the fact that certain songs that get made in their era will transcend. You know what I mean?
Two things that in your what you were just talking about right now that stood out to me. I want to say, like, one of my classic moments here on the B-side is when we had Volume 10 doing Pistol Grip Pump live on the show. Like, I was back here somewhere karaokeing it along with them, dog. Like, that's one of my all-time favorite singles, West Coast singles, dog. Shouts to Volume 10. And then the other thing that you brought up that's really relevant is the fact that I remember, like, my dad and my uncles, like, when I was buying hip-hop cassettes, and they were going, that's just a fad, that ain't gonna go. That's the same shit they said about rock and roll when they were listening to rock and roll, you know, after, you know, 50s, 60s, when that started coming out, the new style rock and roll, which is classic rock now, but they were saying that, that's just a fad, it'll go. Hip-hop is like, what, 30 years or so strong now, man, so it ain't going nowhere, man. So
50.
Is it jeez. Bang bang the boogie, the up jump the boogie. Hey, real talk though, I mean, that is really relevant what you were saying, is like and I think you are right that even the newer stuff, maybe all of us in this room are not feeling some of the newer stuff as much, maybe, but it doesn't mean other kids or youngsters ain't feeling it. They might have a conversation, like you said, 10 years from now talking about that, man. So, hey, go ahead.
I was going to say, from an artist standpoint, I think music is a lot easier to make now. So the foundation isn't really there anymore because it's so easy. Like, I could make a beat on my phone literally right now or whatever, record on my phone right now, film myself right now, upload it to YouTube right now, and in about 15 minutes, you know, I'll have views and I'll technically be a rapper. So because it's faster to make music. So from an artist standpoint, I'm saying, like, yeah, of course people will, you know, this song came out, blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying for fans of it, it's going to be a lot harder because they're going to have to swim through oceans of shit to find something good. And I think that, you know, not to blame technology or whatever, it's a gift and a curse, but same thing like with the battle aspect as well, because I used to battle or whatever. But the thing is like, nobody's driving around in their car listening to battles, if you really think about that. So like, you might remember a punchline or two, you might remember something like that, it's dope, you remember who beat who, Cannabis Disaster, whatever. But ultimately, like, you'll remember that moment, but the music, you know what I'm saying, as far as like the music itself, I don't think, I mean, it will happen, like you said, but I think it'll be maybe a little more limited. It'll be the diehards.
And regardless of how easy it is to make, you know, it's still got to be good for it to like really live in people's hearts and for it to like transcend an era and be talked about. Otherwise, it's just, you know, it'll end up on like a Where Are They Now, or like Remember This. You know, like at best it would be like a mention in the VH1 like
top 50 from,
decade,
you know,
rundown
2010s or whatever. But yeah, perfect example. Like, if it's good music, it will be timeless. People will talk about it. If it was a joke, it'll be a joke. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll definitely happen. People will be having these conversations. It might be a lot more limited, and the things they talk about might not be as much as we can go on and on as far as like Slick Rick, Public Enemy, Ice-T, and these ones and those ones, because it was all quality music. Now it's like, who can you really think of?
I mean, not to diss, but
Go ahead.
will people ever talk about? I mean, there's certain artists are like for life franchise players in the entertainment and music industry. Will people ever creatively talk about Soulja Boy the way they did when he had his like Soulja Boy Tell Him song out? Like, it almost seems like
where's
Mims?
Superman,
what happened to Mims? Because I mean, this is why I'm hot. What happened to that? What happened to Hurricane Chris?
But that's just on a pop level.
Look,
that's just on a pop level. Maybe somewhere on some like smaller draw level, they'll have a career forever just because they had those hits.
Yeah.
And that is how it is, because I know artists that like I see everywhere performing based off hits they had. So
I think it all, I mean, I'm not trying to diss either, maybe just a little bit, but I remember when the Soulja Boy song was coming out, and then he had another single that popped right after that, and I remember going, why the fuck is everybody bumping this? Like, he's not saying nothing.
Because of the first one.
He had like 4 words.
They wanted to believe it. They want like,
he had 4 words.
If you come with a hit, you know what I mean? And that first one is a hit, and they like that first one.
Yeah, but
then they want to believe you on the next one. You feel me? They like, please be good. They're like, he's good, right? We said he was good.
But I think music kind of
like, oh no,
it
okay. Oh, we got
that.
Drizzy now. We got Drake. Okay, Lil Wayne is making more better shit. Let's go.
I think the music kind of like at the end,
like,
though, it separates
now
itself.
We're like,
because
okay, thank God we got Kendrick Lamar. Okay, we don't have to just.
Hey, now, but you don't hear nothing from Soul. That my point, I guess, is that. Yeah, he was hot for that song. Maybe it was catchy and people were singing along with it and it was banging in the clubs. But the point is, like, you don't really hear nothing no more because the music kind of has a way of separating itself. Like, he doesn't make good.
Well, you keep hearing
music.
stuff when they really can make shit that you like E40. We keep hearing E40 because he is supreme. We keep hearing Busta Rhymes. We keep hearing. Dudes like Tech N9ne keep making shit. The people that stay around and keep making shit is because they obviously are good. They're like born to do this.
You know what? You know what? That's the thing too. We're gonna get into a video right now, but before we do, I would rather be an E40 than a Soulja Boy because E40's been doing that independent thing and making constant. Maybe it's like not the top hit on the radio, but he makes solid music for like 20 years now, rather than being that guy that has 2 hits for a year or whatever. I'd rather be the E40, you know what I'm saying? So hey, we're gonna get into a video real quick. We'll come right back and get into the next topic on this forum, man. Thank you guys, man. You guys really got good things to say. We like that. That's why we do.
Do you have? Is that really the amount of topics you have? Because
no, these are actually the people that were chatting. We're shouting them out.
I was about to say.
Shouts out to these people. We don't have this many.
He's all like, you know what, man? This ain't no fucking test here. What the hell's going on?
The fuck is this, college? Hey, we'll be right back after this video.